we go. There we go.
Hello, and welcome back to the Vulgar Valkyries this week. I am your host, Simi.
And I'm Chantel.
And this week we have another, weekly feature corner, but for the whole episode, as it is spooky season, and we're going to keep doing it. Also, it's pretty proper that it's raining outside right now.
For you.
Yeah, for me.
Not and it's for me yet. But it will be in like an hour, I bet.
Because my weather moves up to you, or your weather moves down to me, depending on how it all goes.
Depending on how weather works?
Yeah, depending on how weather works. Anyways, I hope you guys like our makeup, though. As you can see, we're both sort of spooks right now. I'm deaf, but make it disco.
And I don't have a catchy tagline. I'm just absolute chaos. Well, I can't say what it is without you saying what the creature is.
Yeah.
Even though they probably know between the both of us.
They more than likely know at this point. So let's get down to the creature.
Unless they're listening. I'm sorry. If they're listening, they're like, what the fuck are they talking about?
They're gonna be so fucking confused. Like, what? They're dressed as things now?
Yeah,
is that what's happening?
If you missed last week, which I hope you didn't because it was good, we're on Facecam on YouTube, so you can find us. The link will be in the description, but you should still listen to this on Spotify, so that way we can still get the statistics of you listening.
Yeah.
Just mute it, and watch it on YouTube.
Exactly.
Okay,
all right.
Continue.
Let me put my glasses on because I'm a blind bitch, as they all know.
I just will squint like this, and it'll add to the spooky effect if I look exactly like this.
Put glasses on, please.
But tell me it doesn't look spooky.
It does look spooky, but also you're blind.
True. True. Slides, wig, and headphones.
Yeah, I just perched mine gently into my wig somewhere.
I'm not that smart. Instead, I have a hard time. This is the least professional intro, I think. This is the downside to Facecam. You guys wanted this. I hope you know that. Now I look like a scene. No, the bangs just did that, okay?
Oh man, 2013, Chantel.
Okay. It doesn't help. It still looks seen, but that's okay. With no teeth. Okay.
All right. Anyways. So our creature this week is ghosts. I'm pretty sure we all know a few names for ghosts. We've got apparitions, we've got haunts, we've got phantoms, we've got poltergeists, we have specters, spirits, wraiths, shades, just plain old ghosts. So we all know what a ghost is. Ghosts show up pretty much in every fucking folklore there is to be. Show up in Christian, I believe Judaism as well. It comes in Islam as well. Of course, there are like different ones, and also the Hindu and the God, I'm so sorry. I'm like blanking right now. Should I read off my notes? No.
I have faith in you.
Thank you for having faith in me. It's very misplaced though. But yeah, so ghosts are the soul or spirit of a dead person or an animal that can appear to the living. Usually they will haunt certain cemeteries, maybe even their old houses or old buildings that they may have inhabited at one point. There's a lot of different lore on ghosts as well. They come as very translucent and very visible shapes to realistic, realistic us, kind of, if you know what I mean. And maybe we're just a little bit see-through if it comes down to it. But sometimes, ghosts. But there's always the whole debate on whether ghosts exist or not. And that's a big debate. Honestly, in my opinion, I do believe they exist because I have seen ghosts in my house. This is a haunted house here.
I feel like there's a lot of like things. I can't think of the term. there's a lot of like stipulations to me. You know what
Fair.
I mean? Because
Yeah.
I'm like if I'm having this debate, I'm like, oh, do you mean like ghosts? Like, I'm gonna lift things up and like in Sims, like
Yeah.
is that what? And I'm sorry we mentioned Sims last time. I've been playing a lot of Sims. That's why I
The
bring it
Sims
up
is
right away.
very
Yeah.
fucking
the
it fits.
supernatural in Sims is very like a good example, right? But
Yes.
do they mean like, oh, I'm gonna like pick things up and I'm like, do they mean those kind of ghosts? Do they mean possession kind of ghosts? Do they just mean spirits? Do they
Yeah.
just mean like, you know, like there's so many different, and I'm sure you're gonna get into it. There's so many
Yeah.
different like depending on how they believe in ghosts and where the
Yes.
origin of the ghost came from. It's like, oh, is it an angry spirit? Is it just like one stuck in? So it's like I have to have that conversation before even telling them if I believe in them or not.
Right.
Because I definitely do. Like I think everybody's had an experience with one.
Oh, absolutely.
But they just like don't want to admit it.
Right. It depends on like if they did have an experience with one, they'll be like, some will be like, yes, this definitely happened to me. That was definitely a ghost. While others will be like, you can explain it away. So you've got the Shane Medays and the Ryan Bagaras, basically.
I'm a Bugara. But I love Shane. That's the thing. I'm a
Right?
Bugara because I agree with him.
But
But
Shane,
I love Shane so much.
like the way that he just goes on about, like, it's just a
He's
skeptic.
so good. I
it.
love him. I think he's less of a skeptic now than he used to be, though.
Oh,
For those
absolutely.
who don't know what we're talking about the Unsolved Boys. If you've ever seen, and my mom started listening to the podcast. She
word?
she already shared everything, but like she started listening recently. So there's gonna come a time where we have to have a long talk. But but so anyway, like say if you're my mom and you're listening and you don't know about the Unsolved Boys or the meme where he says, "Hey there, demons, it's me, a boy."
Boy.
That's they're these two guys that go they don't just go ghost hunting, they do
Yeah,
a lot of things.
They've gone
But
hunting for demons a couple
yeah,
times.
but the
too.
ghost hunting and the demon thing is like where it started for them.
Oh yeah.
If you don't know who we're talking about, one of them doesn't believe in any of it, the other one does, and that's it. And they do like other paranormal stuff as well. But
Yeah.
obviously the ghost is like what we care about.
Yeah. They did a very compelling episode on Mothman. I think you guys should watch that.
Oh my god, it was so good. I think we talked about that last time too, didn't we?
I think
Or
we
the
might
time
have.
before. I know we address our faves a lot. That's what matters.
We should have talked about Goatman that last time though. That's a good
fuck,
one.
yeah. That's another thing. So some of those creatures, like
Yes.
like some of them are like people are just like, oh, it's a ghost.
Yeah.
I feel like ghosts are always like the thing where they're
Yeah.
like, oh, like Mothman, ghost, Bigfoot, ghost. Like I mean that's obviously not where people go right away.
Right. But it's definitely like a definite avenue on it.
Yeah, it's like a catch-all.
Yeah, because they're spirits at the end of the day, and sometimes spirits aren't exactly like, you know, a human-esque form.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they take the form of, like, let's say Ghostbusters ghosts, if we even go down that road. We have Slimer, who's literally a mass of ectoplasm that shoots out goo from himself.
I do love Ghostbuster ghosts.
Same. Yo, you know what I'm so mad at still? No, this is still on the topic of ghosts, and it's still Ghostbusters, but I'm mad that they never went along and did a sequel to the
new one?
Yeah, the all-women reboot.
I never saw the all-women reboot.
It was
because I heard it was good.
Yeah.
But I also am kind of torn because I feel like a lot of people had lower expectations for it. So the people that are telling me it was good, like they're doing it based off their expectations. And I mean, to be fair, I'd probably think it's good because I didn't think that highly of it.
Right.
Not because it's all women, obviously. I was very excited for the cast.
Yeah.
Just because I don't like most remakes.
But
I did think they were going to do a sequel. And I feel like maybe they'll wait a little bit and still do it. Like, I don't think it's entirely scrapped.
I'm hoping they do because it feels like it's scrapped only because they're starting on a new Ghostbuster project that takes place after, you know, the old Ghostbuster stuff.
Oh, so maybe it is. Dang.
Yeah. And it's like, it really does deserve some recognition because the characters were very unique in their own way. They had their own personalities. Like, yeah, some of them were definitely XPs of the old Ghostbuster quartet. There we go. Mm-hmm. But like, it was still their own thing. They're their own people. And we even got like cameos of the old Ghostbuster crew and everything. It was really nice to see. It was really nice to have that film and to like see where they went with it. The comedy was like really on point. Chris Hemsworth character.
I know about that. I do know about that.
Just such a wonderful character.
I know he was written well. I know that much because I saw those clips.
I was kind of worried about how they would treat Leslie Jones's character because they didn't give her much shine in the trailers.
That's another thing. I think that's another reason why I didn't really want to watch it. Yeah. Because I really like her, and I remember like at the time that was like something I was really bitter about. Yeah. Was because I was just like, they don't seem to be doing a lot with her, as most people tend not to. Right. And this was around the time I remember nobody wanted to do nobody wanted to do her outfits when she was filming, and that was around the same time. And so I was like, I don't even want to see it because like I was going to be so upset
if like she didn't get her flowers, basically.
Yeah, because I like her so much. I really do. She's so funny.
She is hilarious. And her character was amazing in the film as well. She was actually not just an MTA runner, she was like a historian as well. She knew all about like all these different historical facts about around New York and everything. That kind of helped out the Ghostbusters and all that.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was very nice to have that. I was glad they didn't make her just like the butt of like a racist joke.
Yeah.
So that was nice. If you guys have not watched that Ghostbusters, it was really good. I would definitely give it a watch and then stay for the little stinger at the end because
it's spooky season.
It is spooky season, and that is perfect time to watch it.
I'm gonna watch it.
Hey, I'm hoping I'm getting a lot of people to watch this and then start demanding on Twitter, bring back Ghostbusters.
Yeah, let's do it. It'll all start here. Hashtag. I can't think of a clever hashtag, but by the end of this, I will.
I want to say girls get it done, but that's the boys. That hashtag belongs to the boys.
We'll figure something out. We'll figure it out.
But yeah, it was a really good movie. I am still excited for that new Ghostbusters film that they have in development right now because I love Paul Rudd. And that's like literally the main reason I love Paul Rudd. But, it'd be nice if they just gave us a sequel to that one that we were just talking about. Anyway, so as we were talking about, the existence of the afterlife is like very debated upon by a lot of people. And one of those said afterlives are usually in the form of ghosts and spirits who still walk on Earth. Depending on what it is, it will usually be like, say, they have some unfinished business, which some people would say that lands you in purgatory, though, while others will be like, no, you still just roam the earth and everything. Or sometimes you can contact your dead loved ones from the afterlife, and sometimes they like manifest themselves in the actual world. And it even goes into ancestor worship, which is like a big part of Santeria, Bruja, voodoo, hoodoo, root work. So there's a lot to it. We even see ghosts just appear in a lot of different media and everything, even in some of the more serious shows that we see. The main example that I'm thinking of right now are all the spirits that were in the house of Lovecraft Country.
Oh my God. If you guys haven't watched, here's a spoiler alert right now, because I feel like it's been out long enough that you should have watched that episode, because that was like episode 2.
Yeah, I think it was 3, actually.
That maybe, was it? It might have been 3. But either way, that episode was so fucking good. I have been waiting to be able to talk about it on here. It was so, like, I feel like every black person, especially every black person in America, was just, like, fucking geeked at that episode. Like, because they set it up like you're scared, but, like, you're not really scared because you already know the setup of the show. It's like the real monster is the white devil man all along. So it's like you're not really scared because you're like, what's happening here? Right. And then they fucking do the thing. Oh my God.
It was
So
so
fucking good. Oh, it got me so hype.
Because, like, at first you're thinking, oh, they're definitely going after, like, our main characters. And then you find out it's just the one ghost who's, like, you know, the white man's ghost who used to own this house. But then all the other ghosts are victims of this white man's cruelty and everything. They get back at him in the end of it. It was just like, that is so wonderful to see.
It was so good. You know, actually, on that vein, I was so somebody was talking about Chambers Street. It was like a meme going around, like in New York, the train station, Chambers Street. And Chambers Street is like a disaster of a train station. And I mean, a lot of the MTA is a disaster of a train station. And obviously, like when Us came out, that was a big conversation because they were talking about like the underground tunnels and all that.
Yeah.
And New York is basically built on top of old, like its current subway system is built on top of old subways.
tunnels,
and there's like hidden tunnels that people don't know about. And if you take this train, it loops around. And I actually want to do that.
Yeah.
It loops the 6 train loops around. I forget I think the Unsolved Boys did it. It might not have been them though. But the 6 train loops around City Hall and it does go to an abandoned train station.
Okay.
But it's obviously like impossible to get on it because you have to like wait for the conductor to like do the check, and then you have to, it's really unsafe and I wouldn't recommend it. And I think they do tours of it. But anyways, Chambers Street Station, really shitty, like dilapidated station. And somebody was talking about it, and apparently rumor has it that at one point in time, that location, like around Chambers Street, is where they did slave auctions. So because that's where they did the slave auctions, like that's why sometimes at night, if you're at Chambers Street, you hear like sounds and you don't really know what it is, which you would think in New York City, like you hear sounds in the subway system a lot, but you really don't. Like at night, I feel like when you're waiting for the train in one of the underground stations, the scary part of it is that it's fucking quiet.
Oh yeah, I remember like visiting one time and I was waiting for my train to get back to my B&B and it was just so quiet down there.
It's fucking silent, and Chambers Street isn't silent. And that's like once I saw the slave thing, I was like, oh my God. So on that vein, a lot of ghosts, and I have like a map. I'll show it to you one day. Yeah. I have a map, and maybe we'll release it like for like fans of the show. But I have to redo it a little bit. I've been making it since like sophomore year of high school. Yeah. It's a map of places I want to road trip in America, and it's abandoned or possibly haunted places. A lot of them are based in PA because that's where I was living at the time.
Is the town that Silent Hill is based off? Oh yeah, of course.
So that was what triggered it. But now I actually recently had a conversation with somebody. I'm a little upset that so many people like got to Centralia before I could visit, because one of my pet peeves is like when people go and they graffiti, like I love graffiti, but I hate when people graffiti places like that are like like historical, like even though Centralia is a relatively recent town as far as history goes, kind of I hate when there's like landmarks like that like a lot of people want to see for like what naturally happened to it. And then people go and they like spray paint shit that like I feel like it kind of messes with the ambiance because it makes it more like modernized, you know? Like obviously, so they say Centralia was like a portal to hell because the mine fire things, but people like spray painted like go back and it's like, why do you have to do that? Anyway, back on the map thing. So a lot of the things with America obviously tied to, and this does tie to like, you know, voodoo and hoodoo more than anything else, as far as like my ancestors go. So this is what I know, what I can speak on. Yeah. And obviously you would know some of this, and anybody that has any African roots at all should know about this. A lot of the ghosty things in America are tied to slaves and all of that, because clearly we were not treated so great back then. So our ancestors would be one of the ones that you said like have unfinished business and things like that.
And so I will say, continue. Oh, sorry. I was about to just say like Native American ancestry too would definitely.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. But like the places that I have on my map are like a lot of those places it's either slaves or Native Americans that are tied to it. Obviously, like some places like Salem and things like that I have on there, and like other like religious things that like people don't really know about. But
Right.
my biggest thing that's kind of sad is that a lot of these places, you know, not everybody cares about fucking ghost hauntings, right? So a
Yeah.
lot of these places are no longer like a lot, especially the places that are out west, like
Yeah.
that were like towns, like mining towns and things like that. Those places got taken down. And there was a town, I want to say it was in like Ohio, that was an entire, or maybe it wasn't Ohio, it was like one of those bumblefuck states that nobody cares about.
Right.
But no offense if you're from one of those states, but it was a town where it was basically just foundation left.
Yeah.
And apparently the reason that they all left was because it was hella haunted. And so they took the foundation down a couple of years ago. So now it's like not even like, you know how normally you can find houses and it's like the imprint of the house.
Yeah.
In Salem, they have a lot of those where it's like the house was knocked down, but they keep up like the framework for it.
Right.
That town doesn't even have that anymore.
God
Like,
damn.
that's it. They completely took it down recently. And
They
it's
stripped
so
that
sad
shit.
to me. Yeah, because it's like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. This is like the conversation from last week. I'm like, if there's that many cultures saying something exists,
Then it has to like exist in some way, shape, or
yeah,
form.
like even especially because like science doesn't prove so much of it,
Right.
you
Because
know?
even in science, they can't really, it's like apparently it's impossible to really falsify ghosts' existence. And I definitely believe that. And then also even seeing, even though it's a pseudoscience for how to find ghosts and everything, it's just like, there are certain things that just you
Yeah,
can't.
some of them I'm like the cold spots, things like that.
Yeah.
My favorite city, I've been very open about this. My favorite city in America, because I've clearly been to so many. My favorite city that I've been to thus far is Savannah, Georgia.
Nice.
I have a lot of family from Georgia, but my family
Same.
stays in South Carolina a lot.
Yeah.
So one day we stood in South Carolina, or one year we were in South Carolina,
Right.
and we drove to Savannah, Georgia, because it wasn't too far from where we were.
Yeah.
And we go to Savannah, Georgia, which is like a very historical city. Even if the whole city's not so historical, and I was like doing touristy shit, the part of the city we were in was historical. But as
Right.
far as I know, all of Savannah is pretty historically driven.
Okay.
Savannah was a big spot for the Civil War, and it
Yeah.
got hit by the yellow fever considerably hard. The reason that it's important that it was a spot for the Civil War was because it was one of the only places in the South where they took both soldiers in hospitals.
Right.
All of the South obviously didn't want our soldiers because they're sore losers. So it was one of the only places where they did this. So also, it was the first place where a woman was hung to death. I think it was because she killed her children, but it was the first place where a woman was hung to death.
Right.
And I forget his name, and I don't want to say it if I'm wrong. Um, there was a Native American chief who like helped them discover Savannah, and he was killed there. And they moved his body. It's in time like the town square. So I did a ghost tour there. That's why I remember this trivial nonsense, because I was
Right.
like asking 18 billion questions when I went on the ghost tour. And so basically, say this is the town square. If you're
Yeah.
listening, I'm sorry. Just imagine I'm holding up a square with my fingers. Say this is the town square. So you walk into the town square from whichever way, and there's a giant rock, and the rock is a boulder, and it's like over here, right?
Yeah.
So that's the marking spot for where this Native American chief is buried. He was buried over here originally,
Right.
and they moved him. And they say that's when a lot of the hauntings started. And they moved him because at some point that's where the hangings were.
Right.
And it was like the first woman got hung there. And then they had a bunch of soldiers that they like accidentally lost in the hospital because they were Union soldiers. So they think that people like did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And it was in The Walking Dead, the Telltale game, which is why I wanted to go there. But it was in the Telltale Walking Dead game. And
Of course.
there's a place called the Marshall House. In the game, it's called in the game, it's called the Marshall House. In real life, it's called the Marsh House.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. It could be vice versa, but you get the point.
Yeah.
So it's a hotel. It's a historical hotel with like the certificate and everything. And I was like in there. It's a very beautiful hotel. It used to be a hospital. Behind it, there's a bunch of limbs. Like I mentioned it to the tour guide, and there's a bunch of limbs that are just buried there because, like, you know, that's what they had to do back in the day. They couldn't like save the limb.
Right.
So they would cut it off, and they buried it all behind this place. So the guy looked at me, and he was like, and it was so funny because he's like this old white guy who, like, you know, very like the way you picture the South, he is that, except like he did use a term I don't like to describe mixed people. But I don't think he did it maliciously, because everybody I've heard that uses that term says, oh, well, in the South, we use it. I don't agree with it.
I feel like I know exactly the term that you're talking about.
But I was in 9th grade at the time, so this was like obviously before people were a little more familiar with it. Like obviously I was uncomfortable, but like nobody else even heard it happen, so they didn't care. And whatever. So the way you picture the South, he was that, right? Jesus. Except like not an asshole. Like he was like the Southern hospitality picture of the South, not what we picture the South today in this political climate. So he looks at me and he goes, you know, there's more than limbs buried back there. They say it's just limbs, but clearly there's more than limbs. I think it's haunted. And he was so serious. And it was so funny because this is like an adult. Like I was like a kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is an adult looking me in the face and being like clearly it's his job to do ghost tours.
Right. But it's like, I'm going to scare the shit out of you.
It's fucking haunted.
Yeah.
And that's another, like that whole city, they had a whole, it's built on top of a cemetery.
Yeah.
Like huge chunks. Like imagine if Philadelphia, like if all of Old City was just a cemetery and they just built Old City on top of it.
Ooh,
that's
God
how
damn.
a huge chunk of Savannah is like that. And you can see the water when it rains. It doesn't go down right away because there's bodies there from when yellow fever hit, because that's where they would bury all of them. And they moved the cemetery. And at one point there was a bunch of soldiers that like decimated cemetery, and there's tombstones. And I'll never forget this because it was the first time that it hit me that I really believed in ghosts. Like up until this point, I think I had seen ghosts and I had like interacted with spirits and stuff, but you know, when you never like firmly know.
Right.
So we're going on this tour. We walk past the cemetery that's now like it used to be like a bigger section and now it's a little smaller. And he's telling us soldiers at one point came, and I don't remember if it was the North or the South, but they came and they moved the bodies of the other soldiers, and they moved all the tombstones, and all of the tombstones are against the wall of the police station, and they're like covered in vines, and they're like old tombstones, like fucking like the slabs, like the thin ones. Like these are like old fucking tombstones, like history, right? So this is like blowing my mind because I'm like 14 and I'm like, oh my God, this is like not just a fucking ghost story. This is like these people in real life physically move these bodies, and thought that was just gonna be chill, right? So then I'm looking and you can see the tombstones, and he's like, yeah, if you walk up to them, like there's names on there. And I'm like, whoa, right? So this is next to the police station. So they say like, oh, the police station's haunted because like the bodies from these people are like mad that they got moved.
Yeah.
And as we're going to the police station, we're looking at like one of the old, it's like one of the first police trucks or whatever. We're like looking at it, and there's a cold spot, like right, and the guy's telling us, and he's like, so we feel the cold spot, and then like a little bit later, he's like, oh yeah, they experience like cold spots and shit here, and we're like, oh my God, like we just felt this cold spot right there, and there's no vent, there's no nothing, like you're in Savannah in the middle of the summer, so it's fucking sticky and hot. And it's cold, like air conditioning cold. There's no door. There's no reason for it to be cold there, right?
Right.
Took a picture. I took a picture, and I if I go on my MySpace or like deep on my Facebook, I have a picture of this police truck. I took it on a little white camera, like a digital camera.
Yeah.
There's fucking orbs all where the cold spot was.
That sounds
And I
like
don't
some
care what
haunting
I don't
activity.
care what anybody says about orbs and pictures. I was very like, oh, it's dust particles, hee hee hee. But look at all the shit lining up with that story. That was fucking Ghost.
It all matches up to Ghost. It
It
definitely
was
does.
that city, man, and I want to like live there. But that city, like any historical city like that, where it's like not just one side or the other.
Right.
Because it's like if I go to like somewhere in the South where they were like assholes, I mean, most of the South is assholes, you get what I'm saying.
Okay.
But if I go somewhere in the South that wasn't so, here's where the North and the South, like it was like a progressive Southern city, or if I go somewhere in the North that was like racist,
Right.
I'm not really going to be empathetic to any spirits that are there. But this one had so much like conflict in the city, and all of the people that died there had so much conflict within themselves and like each other.
Yeah.
That I simply cannot believe that like people just like don't think ghosts are real. Like all the bodies that were moved, all of like there was a girl that like one of the first like recorded suicides in the state was there.
Yeah.
And it was because like they forbade her from marrying somebody, and so she like jumped out a window, so she like haunts this bar.
Wow, some Juliet shit.
Yeah, and there's like, so obviously the bar like feeds into this story, so there's like a figure in the window, but it still freaks me the fuck out.
Why do I feel like this is somewhere that the boys have visited? The Ghoul Boys.
It might have been. I don't remember if it was, but it might have been. I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah.
But it was what woke me up to being like, I want to do ghost tours everywhere I go. There's like stories in fucking GTA that are inspired by real life.
Yeah.
Like there's a ghost you can find in GTA that's inspired by a mountain in Pennsylvania.
Dude, I gotta get back on GTA and then find some of these things. I know there was like a killer that goes around on GTA, and I know there's a ghost now.
I'm not gonna lie, the ghost freaked me out when I was a kid. I was like scared of this video game ghost, because it was like the girl that like fell off the mountain, and it said there's like, oh man, and I like stared at it for like thinking about it still gives me, I'm such a baby, but it like gave me like the heebie-jeebies when I was like playing it. Oh my god. And then I learned
that was me with Sims 2 Ghost, to be honest.
Yeah, but then I learned it's a real thing, and that's what freaked me out. It was like before I looked it up, I learned it was a real thing.
Yeah.
So, or like before I did it in game, I like looked up why it's in the game, because I was trying to find Ratman.
Right.
Didn't find Ratman. Found a ghost.
Wait, hold on.
Ratman is not in GTA.
I was gonna say in Portal.
No, it was a rumor that he was in GTA like that, because it was a rumor he was in Liberty City.
Yeah.
And then it carried into all the other GTAs. And they said he was like in the subway system, and then they said Bigfoot was in this one, and then they said Ratman was in it, and then they were like, oh no, there's this ghost. So then I saw the ghost, and then I was like, where's this ghost come from? And it's a story based off a girl in Pennsylvania who like they never found out who it was, and there's a girl that walks this mountain in Pennsylvania, and if you're driving there, you will see her on the side of the road. Sometimes she doesn't have her head.
Wow, no, I don't like that.
Yeah, sometimes she doesn't have her head. Sometimes there's a cast of her. There's a town in PA that has a cast of the Jane Doe.
Hold on, I gotta look this up. Jane Doe Mountain Ghost.
Sometimes she's carrying her head. Sometimes she's not carrying her head. This is
How they not made a movie about that?
This is what started my ghost tour thing, because I was like, whoa, this is in Pennsylvania, and I was like obsessed. And I think that's where a lot of the issues with real life comes from today, because so many people like start the way I started, and then they become obsessed with ghosts, and then they're like, every single thing that happens is a ghost story. And it's like, no, not necessarily, but like
there are just certain things that definitely can be ghost stories.
Yeah. I love ghosts, man. I really do. I don't vibe. What's your stance on Ouija boards?
So I think that y'all should be careful if you're going to decide to use a Ouija board. only because like you can invite more than just like whatever kind of spirit that you're trying to call out to. You can invite malicious things into your space, and if you don't close out if you don't close it out correctly, you're going to continue to have those malicious spirits in your space, and you might end up dead because of it. So that's my stance on Ouija boards. Like, I understand that people do it for fun and everything. I really do understand that. But also be careful what you're trying to call on, is all I can really say.
Yeah, I'm going to make some people mad because I'm very, like, superstitious. There's a real big chunk of me that does not believe in Ouija boards at all. Yup. And it baffles a lot of people because I'm very much like a spiritual person.
Yeah.
But a huge part of me, because you know what it is? I watched something where they blindfolded the people.
Yeah.
And then nobody could solve anything. Like, nothing was said. And that's what broke it for me. Like, that's when I was like, okay, like, clearly, because I do think, you know, if you believe it, I think it can happen.
Yeah.
But when you watch that and you see, like, everybody's blindfolded and then all of a sudden no words are made.
I just think it takes a bit of belief and also like a modicum of already having a bit of spiritualism within yourself and knowing how to
maybe that's what it is. That's why I'm so conflicted, because I'm like, part of me thinks it, but part of me is still like, no, I say they're bullshit, but I would never fuck with a Ouija board. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, there's still like the I don't believe it, but keep it away from me just in case.
Right.
You know, so that's kind of where I stand on it. I'm looking at myself and I can't get over the fact that I don't have any front teeth. Like, if you're watching or if you're listening to this right now, we're both dressed very ghostly, and I put teeth black on, and I also had a black tongue earlier. But I put teeth black on, and I drank tea and stuff and ate. So like, some of it you can't see. But from the distance I'm sitting from my computer, it's very hard to tell. And when you're watching this back, you'll probably see it better because Zoom auto highlights whoever's talking.
Right.
But from the size that me and Sim you're looking at, and from where I am, I just have no fucking teeth. And it's very weird. But anyways,
it's funny though.
So yeah, the Ouija board thing is something that, like, and I do agree with you. Like, the reason I have the stance of I don't want it like, I keep it away from me is because I'm like, you know, that's, you don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
You know, I just can't. I've experienced in real life, I think I've mentioned this on the show before. If not, I've definitely mentioned it to you. I had a friend who was joking, right? And he would always say there was a demon in his house. And he said it came with him. He lived at a trailer park. He lived at a trailer park near Philly. Right. And when he moved to Mayfair, he said, this demon came with me. And like, nobody believed him. They were like, oh, you're fucking crazy. Ha ha ha. Right?
Yeah.
I just believed him. I was like, you know what? I'm going to respect the demon. Like, I forget its name, but I was like, I'm just going to like, you know, everything's copacetic. I'm not going to bother you. You don't bother me. Right. You know, we did some questionable shit, burned a couple things. Like, would I do it again as an adult? No. Was it like sacrilegious? Probably. Am I Christian? No, but like, I still respect religions, right? But at the time, I was satanic. And I was satanic like for a while, and then I went Luciferian, and now I'm just straight up pagan. But it was more of the Luciferian theorem. But anyways, that doesn't matter. Demon, I forget its name. People like there would be, I always left early. Everybody else stayed late, but I would leave early because I cared about school. And like, I'd leave, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, whatever the demon's name is, like, came out yesterday, or like, I saw him, or like, something happened. And it'd always be like, I never was fucking there. And I'm like, how does this happen every time I'm not there? Like, I don't understand. And I was the only one that was like trying to talk to him, but like be chill and be like, hey, like, what's going on? What's up? And everybody else was like, yo, like, my one friend was straight up like disrespectful to the demon, like, all the time. And I'd be like, dude, you can't do that. Like, chill. And he'd be like such a dick. So one day we're all upstairs and not in the creepy basement,
Right.
and it's daytime, and none of us are in the living or in the kitchen. And my friend said something about the demon. Like, no lie, like 3 minutes later, because it wasn't a full 5 minutes, but it wasn't like a minute. Fucking glass goes flying from the counter.
Oh, hell no.
And I will literally make the people respond to this to be like, do you remember when this happened? Because there were 5 of us in the fucking dining room, nowhere near the kitchen. And I was like, that's exactly what y'all fucking get.
That's exactly what y'all get, messing with a fucking demon.
Like, and none of us ever brought a Ouija board in, nothing. Because we were like, you know what? Just live harmoniously. You're not beefing with me. And I was like deeply convinced, because I was like so chill, that's why I never saw it. Because I was always just like, yeah, I respect you, you respect me. Do your thing, I guess. Just don't give me nightmares. I'm not really vibing with that.
Yo, this is why I don't fuck with the ghosts in my house. I hate it.
Dude, I hate when I go to a person's house and they like tell me, because then I feel like it's like I'm like, okay, guess I'm not sleeping. Like, guess I'm just awake. Or like, have you ever, the don't have mirrors facing your bed?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I learned that, and then I was like, you know what? It totally makes sense why I just never slept at people's house. Because I'm like, they're the ones with the mirrors in their bed, and I just didn't, feel it. Did I just press the button? I did.
I was about to say, like, damn, the lights just turned off in your house.
Yeah, don't say that. It did get dark, right? But the light didn't change, but it did get dark. But the light did not change. Oh wait, you know what I did? I pressed the button. Anyway, this isn't not good audio. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Anyways, when you introduced this topic to me, I said, does that include exorcisms and demons and things like that?
Pretty much.
Yeah, I would like to ask you now then, as the professional ghoul and monster expert.
Yes.
What is, and I kind of know, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But where do the differences lie in ghosts and demons? And like, I was like, oh, I'll be Regan from The Exorcist. What is your stance on when you say ghost versus spirits and demons and blah, blah, blah? What do you feel on that?
Usually my difference comes from, is this like a dead person?
Mm-hmm.
Like, specifically? Or is this a soul that just doesn't have, like, has unfinished business that they haven't gotten done? Or is this like, if it's a demon, it's like, are you a demon that just was born out of hell, or someone who kind of made a deal and just got stuck here because of that? Is that the kind of demon you are? Or if it comes to poltergeist, are you like an angry, vengeful spirit, or are you like a massive energy that somehow just kind of came into being, which is something that me and my sister have been talking about in our own house lately, because I seen a few things in this house. I had a dream of a ghost speaking to me one time. It whispered in my ear, like, I will take care of you. And I was like, okay, I'm going back to sleep.
Nope. I'd be up for days.
And I had one dream where it was like, I'm walking down into my basement, and there's this one doorway in my basement that the door is always open there. And there was somebody standing inside of it with their head hanging down. And I'm just like looking for a little bit, but then as I like walk closer, their head snaps up and then the door slams shut, and I wake up and I'm like, didn't like that dream. And then the next time I go down the basement, the door is closed. I'm just like, no, nah, I'm going back upstairs.
Nope.
Not dealing with this basement anymore.
Nope.
And there are a few times that like we see kind of apparitions kind of in the shadows and everything, and I know sometimes it's a trick of the eye, but one time I seen like this glowing orb float through my room and then disappear, and then another time there was like a bit of sparkles downstairs when I was in the living room with my grandmother, who was still alive at the time, and there was like just a mass of light that kind of was in the corner of the room and then suddenly disappeared and everything. And my mom said she's seen the same thing when she used to is that your cat?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm just so paranoid now. I'm sorry. I'm listening to you.
I'm so sorry.
I'm listening to you.
I'm so sorry.
Can you turn the light on so I'm less spooked?
But yeah, there's my mom.
The ambiance was made. Now I can turn the light on. I'm sorry.
You're good. But my mom, even when I brought this story to her, she was like, "Oh yeah, like I seen a ball of light when I used to stay up there in this, because like this used to be one of her, like her old room, and she said that she seen what she supposes was probably my great grandmother, Grandma Leslie's, like her spirit and everything. It was a ball of like an orb of light, same thing that I seen. So I'm just like, so you weren't gonna tell me before I decided to start?
You gotta find it out yourself.
I didn't want to fucking find that out that way. I'd rather like be told and be like, oh yeah, okay. Now I'll be ready for if I fucking see a ghost up here. And it's
how do you prepare for that though?
Man, I don't.
Exactly. So it's like she would have told you and you still would have been like, excuse me. What?
I just have to deal with it. Like, god damn, ghosts. That's some bullshit. Anyways.
Yeah, it just, man, I feel like part of me, that's why I think like renting has been such a safe haven for me and my mom. Yeah. Because it's like you never have to experience like, here's this old house, because usually when you rent, it's like a newer place.
Right. My cat just scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, that's why I was like, let me turn the lights on. I don't care. We might be doing spooky stuff, but I still get spooked pretty easily, you know? I have, this was part of why I brought my babies with me.
Oh, your little animatronics from Five Nights at Freddy's?
If you're listening, that's what I have sitting beside me. I have a lot of FNAF stuff. I'm FNAF trash. But FNAF has, possession in it.
Yeah, it deals with like a lot of ghost tales in there.
Yeah, and I wanted to have them with me so that way I could be like, oh look, you know,
our own little ghosts here.
Yeah, and that's what triggered me asking that question was, because it's like these are angry spirits, right? But then some of them, one of them, the theory is that it just turned evil after like so long, you know, Golden Freddy.
Yeah.
Just turned evil after so long, and then that's when like he takes like the one guy, I don't know his name. Somebody's gonna listen and they're gonna be like, oh, what a fake fan. But but they take Afton. They take Afton with
William
him.
Afton, yeah.
And yeah. They take Afton with them like to hell.
Yeah, and like, they start torturing him in there.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, and it's like that spirit turns into a demon, basically.
Yes.
So that's why I was asking, because it's like everybody, I feel like, kind of has a different stance on those things.
Oh, absolutely. Because you even have like just people who believe in specters, like the black dogs that are kind of a symbolism of death, but they're still ghosts themselves in that way. Or like you know the white lady figures in some folklore, like not
you mean
Caucasian. Yes.
Yeah, like banshees.
Just like
banshees and La Llorona and all of them.
Yes.
And, which is very funny to me because that's another thing that's very cultural, but there's always different versions of the same exact thing.
Right.
And it's very interesting to me, like even the stories of like banshees and like anything similar to them, it's all very similar.
Yeah.
Which is just wild to me because it's like, yeah, in real life that probably happened and like a lady lost her kid and this and that. But it's pretty weird that it happens all around the world.
It is really weird that like a lot of cultures have something of a weeping woman inside, like in their culture. Like I believe there's a black lady of in some township in England. Of course, you already said banshees. The white lady is literally the name for some of those ghosts. The Huldras are in most Scandinavian folklore. I actually learned a lot about some of the Scandinavian folklore. Like you'll see a ghost in the wood. I think it was either ghosts or elves, but like sometimes they are actually the ghosts of elves, and they try to lure you into the forest with them. But the only way, like that they're this is not something that you want to fuck with. If they have a hole in their back that shows all of their rotting organs inside.
Oh, fuck
It's
that.
like,
Fuck
yeah.
that. Absolutely not. No. No, thank you.
It was so interesting to learn about that. I'm pretty sure I have it wrong, and I might be crossing lores, but I'm pretty sure I think that was
whatever you're saying. I am not with the shits on that. Absolutely not.
There are actually a few things in Scandinavian lore that are like that. Like
Scandinavian lore, they're the ones that made Krampus. Fuck that. They're I don't know what they're doing up there. They're
like a lot of their elves and ogres actually do have these holes in their backs that have like rotting organs in them. And it's just like, wow, so these are these the ones that y'all are saying are just beautiful visions? Is it until you see that you tell them to turn around, let me see that ass?
I want the only way nothing to do with it. Although it does sound cool to do some like costume design for.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Would be pretty fun. Which, speaking of, if just to address the makeup, I'm very proud of it one more time.
It's a really good makeup.
I think that's what made me ask the exorcism question, because obviously those are, a lot of horror in general comes from ghost stories. And I was really proud of my makeup. I'm really proud of your makeup too, because that's a look I was just never ever going to tackle because it involves a lot of patience. But I feel I wanted to say on camera because I said it before the stream. I feel like, and if you're not listening, I mean, if you're listening and not watching, not that we'll always harp on the fact that you should be watching, but I feel like thus far, Simi and I have literally tackled these looks on both ends of the spectrum as much as we can, where I'm like, ooh, spooky, let me go extra spooky, and Simi's like, I'm gonna be like, like classy, cool, but also like spooky,
Yeah, I really wanted to try out these looks. They're so fun.
Yeah, it was and that's how I looked at it, but I'm just not creative enough to do something cute. I'm like, ooh, I want to be disgusting and black my teeth.
Yeah.
And make TikToks with stupid sounds that I saved, like that one of Beyonce.
Yeah.
Going, here lies.
Oh yeah, every little speech from Lemonade after I think after is sorry or before sorry, one of the two.
I literally just wanted to use that sound, which was like 90% of why I did this makeup.
It's such a good sound though. Like, so what are you gonna say at my funeral after you've killed me? Here lies the body of the woman that I love, and I can't remember the rest of it.
Whose heart I broke without a gun to my head.
Thank you.
Here on Beyonce's internet. This is
here on Beyonce's internet. My God,
I'm sorry, guys. If you want to tag Beyonce, and let her know that she's gonna make me TikTok famous.
Beyonce, love you so much.
From my flop of a TikTok.
Not my cat chewing on a feather in the corner.
But what else? Continue.
But yeah, there are like just a lot of different variations of ghost lore and everything that you can't really, like, you can, I guess, say, yeah, some of these are induced by maybe psychological experiences, or maybe you're taking psychedelic drugs and you see these things, but it's not all the time. And then some of these, I will say, some of the experiences could also be a factor of sleep paralysis sometimes, because that does happen where you kind of see a vision at the end of the year.
I think sleep paralysis happens because of something like this.
I honestly do, because it just seems it's too fucking demonic. Like, what the fuck?
Dude, yeah, like I don't think your brain, like, I understand your brain can make that stuff up, but I remember when I was little, I saw a monster, and I went and I told my dad, because, like, I lived with my dad and my mom very briefly when I was younger, and my mom was in the hospital, and my dad, it was one of the first nights that I was, like staying home with my dad, and I couldn't sleep, really, so I tried to go to sleep. I sleep for a little bit, and I wake up, and so I was on the second floor of an apartment building,
Right.
And there was like this orange light coming. It was very like very early 2000s, 90s nostalgia that I view this with, right? But
Yeah.
there was an orange light, like that orange parking lot light that's
Yes.
not yellow, it's just fucking orange for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
light came into my room, and I was like looking, and it was a 1-bedroom apartment. So like my parents stayed in the living room,
Right.
and I look into the window, and it wasn't a shadow on the ceiling. It was a shadow in the window of this thing with like just eyes, and it was like this black figure. And I forget what happened. I forget what happened, but I said something to it, and it said something to me, and now I don't remember it. At one point I did remember, but I like ran into the living room, and I was like, Dad, absolutely not. I'm not. Like, there's no way that I, as a child, could have made that up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I had never seen anything that triggered that.
Right.
You know, it wasn't when I had seen horror movies. Like, there's no reason for that to be in my mind. I feel like that's when, like, then, like, whatever powers that be are like, hey, you just want to see some fucked up shit, kid? And that's it. And then you just gotta believe or don't believe, and you can like erase that memory or not. And I feel like sleep paralysis is like, people joke about it, but I also think everybody that's experienced sleep paralysis, like low key, is like, oh no.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like
that's just spooky shit.
Because it's too much to not be some sort of presence just coming into your room and being like, I'm going to, because this is where one of the terms of incubus came from, because basically they were like, just demons that kind of sat on your chest and just kind of were just like, hey, I'm gonna fuck up your sleep for just a second or two. Don't worry about me. It'll go away at some point. But yeah, it was like one of those things.
Yeah, I just don't believe that, like, I just can't. It's the same thing, and we touched on it before, but it's like when you think of like The Exorcist, and like how that lady, like, if you listen to the actual audio, it's like crazy fucked up.
Yeah.
And it's like, that doesn't just happen. Like, I mean, it might just happen, but it's like extremely rare, and there's never been a case like hers after that.
Yeah.
You know? And really, I think there were cases like hers before that, but it was never recorded. And now that it's recorded, the demons are like, oh, well, thanks, Steve. You fucked it up for all of us.
God damn it, Steve. You always do this.
Yeah, like, they're like, goddamn, now we gotta, like, hide for another, like, couple hundred years.
Like, we were supposed to go slow with this. We were supposed to do a slow takeover. And now, look what you did, Steve.
Yup. Fucking
whole world knows about. There's a fucking movie. Wait, what were you doing?
Like, god damn it, dude.
I feel like that's how some vampires feel about Dracula. Like, are you kidding me?
They're like, oh my god, this fucking guy. That's not even his real name.
His fucking
His name's fucking Eugene. I went to school with him.
They're really saying that he has 3 bitches that just follow him anywhere in this book? Fuck out of here.
What a fucking nerd, man.
I know this guy. He gets no pussy at all.
Dude, like, that's literally gotta be how it is, though. And they're like, now we gotta change the whole thing up just for this one thing. Like,
gotta go back into fucking hiding. Are you fucking kidding me? And now these people are acting like they are us. Ugh.
Even worse. What fucking posers, man. That's seriously what I think. Like, I don't know. I just like, even, and I think when you're talking about ghosts and things, it does get like people get a little weird about it because they make it religious, and it is tied to a lot of religion.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
But I think the thing that's really tied to religion more is like the demons and our bodies as vessels for both demons and ghost and things like that. And that's where the two kind of coincide together.
Yes.
Because it's like demons see people. So if they see people, they're going to know how to pretend to be people, but ghosts were people, so they can pretend to be people. And so it's like, there's that debate, and then it becomes a religious thing because people are like, I'm gonna exorcist this thing using God, and then other people are like, that's not how it should work, and then other religions are like, no, like if you do this with these gods, it'll be different. So there's so many variables that I think it becomes like if I believe in ghosts, then like a religious person, traditional religious person, who's, you know, without calling out any specific religions, they'll be like, oh, well, that's an affront to God. And it's like, yeah, but like technically speaking, wouldn't he have like, you know, been chill? Like to just let it happen? Right. You know what I mean? Another grievance I have is that all ghosts are just old. Like, why isn't there a fucking ghost from like 2005?
Right, I would love to see a ghost in like the early 2000s era fashion, just kind of walking around. That'd be so fucking funny.
Part of my theory, like my personal theory, is that they're just not like smart enough yet. Yeah. Like you know, have you ever been to like a funeral or something, and there's like a bird or like a butterfly or something that just stays around? That happened recently. I was at a funeral and there's a butterfly around the whole recession. Right. Like the butterfly was there for hours, the same butterfly. And like obviously you feel like that's that person, you know what I mean? And I feel like that is the equivalent of like old, like newer ghost. Like if the spirit's still here, there's like a smaller thing that they do that they kind of like the changelings, not changelings, like the skin changers. What's the word? Whatever.
Skinwalkers?
No. Game of Thrones.
Oh, damn it. God, White Walkers?
No. Skin.
No. The dudes from the House of damn it, no.
No, whatever it is, I'm a fake nerd. I've never read the Game of Thrones series in my life.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
It's the one guy. What Bran does? There's another guy that does that.
The Raven, the fucking.
No, not the Raven itself though. There's another guy. He's a wildling. Well, he lives on the other side of the wall.
Damn it! I know what you're talking about.
They're like, oh, he was a wolf.
Warg. I think a warg.
And so those it's based in my mind. The whole point of me trying to figure that out is, in my mind, that's the spirit of that person. Yeah. Before they become a ghost, because they're just not like smart enough yet. Right. To, like,
or they might need time to manifest their energy.
Yeah. And so that's why all ghosts are old. But I also haven't seen obviously I haven't seen them myself, but I haven't seen like an 80s ghost or like a 70s ghost.
I would love a 70s or an 80s ghost.
So I'm like, why haven't those been a thing? Why is it always like, you know, like Lee Harper from the Union that...
Why the fuck am I seeing the gray lady again down the hallway?
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, you know what a good ghost series is?
Which one?
The Haunting on Hill House.
I haven't watched that yet.
I'm not gonna lie, I loved it.
I've heard good things about it, and I think I know the twist of it, but I don't remember it.
You probably do, but I'm not gonna lie, as I figured it out, it was one of those moments that like I really tried to go into it not knowing anything. Yeah. And like because sometimes I do try to figure stuff out as it happens. Yeah. But when you really just want to appreciate something for what it is, you have to like force yourself to like not overthink it. Right. So by the time it started to unravel, I was watching it with like one of my very good friends at the time. Yeah. And he was coming over like every couple days and we would watch an episode or two. Right. And then like by the time it started to like unravel, like I was like gripping him and I was like, oh my God. And I was like so excited. Kind of like how I messaged you with spoilers. There's not big spoilers, just a hint. There's a twist in Lovecraft Country. That's not a huge twist because we kind of addressed it. You and I addressed it. Yeah. And then literally the next episode, I was like, oh, you were right. And I was like, it was literally that, but in person.
Do you know how many people I had come to me in messages of like, yo, I think this is what's happening. It seems pretty plausible.
But part of me thought that, but I was trying to like not overthink it. Because I'm like, if I think about it too much and then it happens, I'm gonna be like, oh, that was predictable. You know what I mean?
I'm never like that because it's just like sometimes I like the predictability of a story. If they still do the twist well, then
I hate it. Just like the most recent thing that happened.
Yeah.
I didn't, the end of the last episode, I was like, damn. Like, I saw that coming, and now I'm sad because I saw that coming.
I saw it coming, but I also didn't see it coming, so I was very excited.
I was like so upset because it's like that was one of those moments where I knew it was going to happen the whole entire time, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah, I just fucking loved it because I love seeing cops get fucked up.
Oh, well, I still loved all of it anyway, but you know what I mean. But anyways, the ghost... I just, there's so many variables, and I feel like this whole conversation just reminds me that there's so many variables.
Oh, absolutely.
Are they demons? Are they, you know what I mean? Not even the demon thing. The demon thing is like, you already addressed that as perfectly as one could address it, you know?
Yeah.
I just think there's way too many, and that's another thing. Countries that are plagued by shitty past seem to be the ones that have more ghosts than other countries. Look at America. Look at Japan. Japan itself doesn't have like a shitty past, but
like ghosts roam those
Japan and how it became a country has a shitty past. So it's like you look at that, you know what I mean? I feel like countries that kind of America doesn't really feel bad, but you get what I'm saying. A lot of America feels bad. So I feel like maybe that's another thing that kind of goes back into when we were talking about like societal fears and all of that in horror. And this isn't even in horror because ghosts are a very like real life like thing that we believe.
Right.
When I feel like it's definitely so cultural because the countries that have the biggest past are the ones that have the most ghost stories.
Yeah.
So I feel like in a way the reason the ghosts are like older is because of that, because they like have that like guilt, you know?
Right.
That's like a conspiracy theory of mine.
And it definitely feels like it depends on where their bad shit happened that you'll kind of see that happen in horror. Like I've noticed a lot of horror movies when it comes to American horror films. Like not all of them, but a good amount of them do kind of happen in the woods and everything in like for very forested areas, and you're just like, yeah, that's where you did a lot of that bad shit at, isn't it?
Or like places that were in the woods and like in the past it was like this and now it's this. Right. Whoa, and that's it's always you're very correct on that. And like in Japan, it's like kind of similar, or like the stories of Japanese hauntings are very, very like not one note, but they're all quite similar in origin. So it's like very interesting to me. Obviously, I draw from Japan a lot because that's like my favorite type of horror to watch. Yeah. But that's another thing that like you can't always translate to Western culture, right? Because their fears are different than ours. But the ghost thing is something that's always been kind of transferable. Yeah. But Japan's a little more interesting because a lot of they were the pioneers in technological horror. Like here's a thing that kills you through the phone. Whoa! And here's a thing that kills you through a VHS tape. Oh my god.
And I love that we started making fun of that with with just Scary Movie, honestly. That's the main movies that I think about when I think of horror satirism and everything.
Oh, well, yeah, that's like the classic. Yeah. You know, but we also made fun of ourselves on that too.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think as a kid, I saw a Scary Movie before I ever saw Scream.
Same.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people who were born like in our age group kind of were in that boat. Yeah. Scream was like, a mature thing, and obviously so was Scary Movie, but a lot of people are more lenient on comedy when, it's like that versus like murder. Yeah. Speaking of Scary Movie though, there's a cosplayer. I'm gonna plug them real quick because I think I've sent you them, or if you've seen me post them, or you've seen it on your own time.
Yeah.
Their name is Spider Tan, and
I've definitely
as much as I roast Spider-Man cosplayers, he cosplayed from Scream, and it is like an exact like 1-for-1. Like it's so good.
Wait, is it the fucking? Is it who I'm thinking of?
The photo, the photo that everybody thirst over.
Spider Tan, if you're listening to this, you were really hot in that fucking photo set. I'm not even gonna fucking front.
A million chef's kisses.
A million chef's kisses.
I shared it. I gotta have shared it like 3 times, and just been like,
I followed because of that.
I
followed because of that.
Simp. And then like a couple days later, this isn't on horror, but a couple days later in his story, he posted like a maid. He was in like a maid outfit.
God damn it, I missed it.
Amazing.
How am I supposed to simp when I keep missing these things?
He probably wouldn't even listen to the podcast this far because he's like English, so they have like, you know, they don't want to hear American voices, but like
I'm not gonna try to fucking fake an English accent. It's terrible.
No, it would be disrespectful. You gotta fake it not when you're talking about an English person. You gotta fake it. It's like, dude, did you watch SNL when they like fake the Philly accent? And I was like, I say use, and people make fun of me for it.
I say water.
She was like, use guys, and I was like, hey, excuse me.
Right.
But anyways, back on the ghost.
I find it funny that some ghost beliefs also kind of overlap with, strangely enough, vampire beliefs in certain cultures. Like, it's so weird, but it's just like, you know what? Makes sense. Whatever. Let's keep going with it.
Yeah, I think it all just comes from like the dead stuff, to be honest with you. Because like vampires and ghosts aren't in mirrors and things like that. But I do think it's very interesting just to see where all the overlaps on supernatural stuff comes from. Yeah. Because it's like, I don't know, I just have a hard time believing that there's that many things that overlap and it's not a thing, you know? Right. That's just me, and I feel like that's a cop-out for me to just be like, yeah, it exists because this many people believe it exists. That's like a terrible mindset, but it's also just like
it's been around for so long that it has to.
Yeah. And there's too many different versions of the same exact tropes.
Exactly.
You know, I just can't. I
can't see it not being in fact, let's kind of break down our favorite ghost tropes though.
My favorite ghost trope is the light, colorful, I know that he's a terrible person, but Corpse Bride and Coco. Yeah. I really, really like those portrayals of like the afterlife and like ghosts in general, because it's like, if you pay attention, Coco does it a little less so than Corpse Bride, obviously, but it's like the real world is a little bit more one tone in the color palette. Yeah. And then like the afterlife world is like so bright and vivid and like, you know,
I would say another good parallel would be Book of Life.
Oh yeah. I love that. It's not a classic trope by any means. It is a more recent thing. But that's got to be like hands down my favorite, just because like you know, Remains of the Day was a fucking banger. I just love that version of Ghost so much.
The way that they make the Katrinas in those movies are just so beautiful and everything.
Yeah, like everything that's not a classic trope. My favorite trope, if we're going classic, I don't know. I guess are we doing like classic like stories of ghosts?
We even do classic stories of ghosts, honestly, because there are so many good ghost stories out there.
I like the one that my outfit's inspired by, which would be like the lover that was like betrayed and like haunts the person. Oh, you know what? What story I really like? I like the Winchester. The reason that the Winchester Mansion is what it is.
Yes! Oh my god!
I like that one too. Just like, you know, it's not you, but it's your loved one that
Right.
like, you know, I like that a
So
lot.
keep building this shit and you'll be immortal forever, but
Yeah.
confuse us with architecture or whatever.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Yeah.
I don't know, I just like cheesy, overdone stories. I want to make a story similar to Lovecraft Country, but I want it to be like they haunt like Klansmen or something. Like I want something crazy to happen. Like I also like that. I like slave ghosts that like get revenge. That's like a rare thing, and I can't think of anything on the top of my head. But like I like black ghosts that like get shit done. That like you're not even scared of them. You're just like, you know what? Good for you. Like that's what I like.
I think one of the reasons that I like that as well is because, like, you know, we already have that when it comes to calling on our own ancestors, they'll kind of give us aid. So then it would be just wonderful to actually have them fully manifest to give us like that same aid and everything, and to like strike down enemies. That would just be amazing. My God.
I like those like very, you know, like, I don't know, I guess it's like they're not classic tropes, they're twists on classic tropes.
Right.
You know, what about you though?
So my favorite ghost trope, to be honest, is again that protective ghost trope, but is also like I like the really fucked up looking ghosts that like, yeah, they're still exhibiting how they looked around when they died or for the reason that they died and everything. I think that's a big reason that
I think that's what I was trying to come with when I say like the lover thing, because that's what I did with this. So I agree with you on that.
I think that's a reason that I like 13 Ghosts, to be honest, because that it hit every single trope that we just kind of went into.
13 Ghosts was really good. If you haven't seen that, you should see that.
You should absolutely see that.
That's definitely that trope I do really like. I think it's a little sad.
Yeah.
But it is one of my favorites. I think it's sad because it's like, then I think of like terrible deaths people have had, and I'm like, damn, if I was a ghost like that, that would suck. But like this look that I did, I was telling Simi beforehand, it was a rather like, you know, sad thing that I was coming up with because I always have like stories for when I do looks. If I'm doing an effects look, because I base it very much off of like real life trauma and real life like actual skin trauma, not like emotional trauma. Right. But it probably comes to me because of emotional trauma, but that's like that's like a mental thing, right?
Yeah, right.
But real life trauma, I look at like how the skin bruises and how blood works and how veins look under skin, right?
Yeah.
And that's my favorite aspect of doing effects makeup.
Right.
So when doing this, one of my favorite things I learned to do a little more recently is like, or I started to pay attention to, is to do the blood coming out of the nose thing, because that's something that happens a lot. So when I did this, if you can't see it, I have like, you know, veins on my eyes and like cracked lips, and like my lips I drew. So obviously I drew like the little curve thing, that's just like an aesthetic, but I did like in my bottom lip is smaller because like those parts of your lips go quicker. So it's like purple and gray and blah blah. My nose is purple and red, and it's like the things that would rot the quickest. And I did a bruise along my neck because that's like the story of this character, right? So she's all bloodshot and she's bleeding and blah blah blah, because like the story is that like her fiance killed her, and that's my favorite thing as far as ghosts go. But I think it's all aesthetic, because then I think of the actual thing behind it, and then I get sad. And I'm like, well, that's not like the ghost in fucking Lovecraft Country. It's the same thing. That one made me real sad because it's like, oh.
Because then you see that they were all experimented on and everything. Like, he and
they're like living like ghosts like that. And I'm like, that sucks. But then obviously I don't want to spoil it too much, but you know, but that at first it's like, oh. Like, it took me a second, too, because there are one or two in there that are, like, actually really heavy when you think of that's how they died. And if you watch it and you come back to this episode, like, let us know, because I know you're going to know which ones I'm talking about. But there's two in there that are particularly heavy. Maybe, actually, all of them are heavy. But there's one or two that the camera focuses on a little more.
Yeah.
Obviously because it's more effects, so they want to.
Oh yeah.
But for the sake of like actual story, it's like, oh,
right. It's
that
just
fucking
it's kind of
sucks.
horrifying to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you think of like the real life things that have happened, and it's like,
yeah.
Oh, you know? And I feel like I'm too much of an emotional person to be like, yeah, I love that. Because then I actually get really sad about it.
Right.
Like, even if it's coming from my head and it's not a person that actually exists, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's sad.
Because it is really sad, though. Because then you kind of start to realize that they were like suffering still in the afterlife, and it's just like, damn.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, and it's like I think that's why I'm so like, you know, I guess empathetic to Ghost, because it's like, oh, you're not like bad, homie. Like I believe a lot of like demons and like things like that when people say it's like ghost.
Yeah.
Or like not demons, but when people blame like spirits on demons,
right.
I think a lot of it is just like they started off pretty chill, and then with time they obviously like lost that humanity.
Yeah.
And like that's why I get like I'm like, you're chill. Like what can you do? You didn't choose this afterlife, you know?
Exactly.
I didn't do it to you. I can try to help, but
right. Like there's nothing that I can really do too much, but I can try my best to ease whatever pain that you're going through.
I probably sounded so hippy dippy just then. Like here, let me justify this ghost to you.
Jesus. But another trope that I like about ghosts is this is one that like I've heard different discussions on of trying to figure out why this happens, the ghosts walking through walls and everything, or like going on a certain path. And some people say it's because maybe the architecture was different in their life and they're just kind of replaying. Yeah.
I heard that one time and I think it changed my perspective on it.
Right.
Because I never knew like where that idea had came from. And then somebody said that to me and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
It's like a really interesting idea to think that the reason that they're actually going through these walls or like kind of floating in places that you wouldn't expect them to be floating is because, oh, there used to be a stairway here or there used to be a hallway over here. They're just kind of going around their, usual pathways that they remember going on when they were.
That's sad.
Right?
See, here we go. Now I'm just like depressed. I'm like, oh,
sorry.
They didn't. At first I'm like, yeah, ghost. Hell yeah. And now I'm like, oh.
Because let's be real, ghosts are kind of depressing when you think about it because...
It's so sad, dude.
Right. Because on one hand, they could just be spirits that are kind of manifesting themselves here today. On the other, it could be that they're trapped here because of the horrific death that they face, or they have unfinished business and they can't get to the real afterlife because they're stuck here. They can't even finish their business. So it's just like, wow, ghost, Dude,
I just kind of hope we have the option to be ghost.
Same.
Like, what if that's what it is? Like, what if when we die, somebody's just like, yo, you want to be a ghost? And you're like, you know what? That'd be pretty tight for a couple millennia.
That'd be chill.
And I'd be like, hell yeah, I want to be a ghost. And I'd like, I'd be like Mufasa. That's what I would be like.
See, I would have to ask, can I choose to go to the afterlife after I'm kind of done here?
Yeah, no, I'm assuming that's the option.
I'd be like, option.
I'd be like Mufasa. I'd be like a Force ghost, actually. Yeah. Give me a little Obi-Wan action.
God, no, I would hate to be a Force ghost because it's like, damn, I gotta watch the galaxy that I tried to protect kind of suffer.
Nah, I'd be like that. I'd be like, yeah, learn your fucking lesson, bitch. Like, absolutely be little fucking, oh, dude, forget about it. If I could be a Force ghost.
I really do love to think that Obi-Wan just kind of haunted Darth Vader for a while. Like, you fucking bitch, you fucking asshole. You thought you got rid of me.
Could you imagine? Just in his ear, like, you fucking cuck. Look at you.
Sometimes I imagine Anakin's Force ghost going up to Kylo like, hey, fucking bitch, you're nothing like me. You're a piece of shit. Did you know that? You could never be me.
Oh my god, could you imagine? Could you imagine? I don't know how in the world I always tie something to fucking Star Wars, but I hate that I'm this way, and I apologize.
Star Wars has so much of this shit just
yeah,
in
I just can't. It's every day. I want it to stop, but it just can't, okay? I'm sorry.
Listen, Star Wars has a vice grip on our
It
fucking
started
balls.
off with spooky, and now it's resorted to me talking about Star Wars yet again and resisting the urge to talk about Kylo Ren, even though he was mentioned in a sentence. And anybody that knows me knows once he's mentioned, that's it.
I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't mean to mention Kylo Ren. Just know I talk so much shit about him on Twitter already.
Yeah, I know. Now it looks like I have a gap tooth, you see?
I do see.
A really, really, really big gap tooth. Like 4 teeth worth of gap teeth.
Jesus, it really does. Listen.
Or like little fangs.
That actually is cute, yes. Little tiny fangs. Like the little, because a little bit is coming off on the top part of the light, like they're showing. So it's definitely, that's perfect. That's the lazy way to do it.
I love being a ghost.
Ghosts are lit. Oh yeah, another ghost trope that I actually like is, again, I think I mentioned this earlier, it's not actual ghost, but it's just residual energy that's kind of manifesting itself in a sort of way. So it's still like say a door just randomly slams in your house, or something flies off the counter, or something just tips over and breaks for no reason. There was no force behind it other than some otherworldly thing. Residual.
Ooh. You know what that reminds me of?
What?
The theory that ghosts exist all of the time, just on a different plane. And like sometimes our planes like overlap, and that's why stuff like that happens, because like sometimes they'll do something on their plane, like the afterlife plane, they'll do something, and like because that brief moment there is an overlap, that's when something happens in our world.
That's such a good theory, though.
I like that one too.
That's a really
that one, that's fucking cool to me. I don't know how it works, but that one sounds legit.
It does, though, because like, don't we have that? Like, I like that theory because, like, what if it's just an alternate universe that we're kind of seeing, and that's the reason that we're seeing these fucking? Because I think that also brings up, like, so you know, doppelgangers and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, some people see doppelgangers as ghosts, but it's like someone who's still alive, and you're just like, wait, you're not dead, but that's a ghost, but you're here. And it's like, she's my doppelganger.
Doppelgangers are supposed to be like a sign that you're gonna die, isn't it?
Yes.
That's what somebody told me recently.
That actually is a sign that you're gonna die. If you see your doppelganger, fucking run. But here's the thing, I've met my doppelganger.
Oh, that's weird. I don't like that.
Yeah. I met my doppelganger when I was 4 is the thing. So I've kind of been like coasting on life like, damn, that's crazy.
That's weird. I hope I don't have one. If I had one, it's my cousin, because she looks exactly like me.
That's your doppelganger. Sometimes doppelgangers can be family members.
Well, my mom's an identical twin, so I don't know if that really counts.
You know, that's
my
fair.
mom's an identical twin, and my cousin's also mixed. So, like, so we only look alike because both of our eyes are light.
Yeah.
Everybody else has like brown eyes except for me and her, and like our moms. But like our dads have brown eyes and her siblings have brown eyes. So me and her look more like siblings than her and her siblings,
more like
because of our eyes. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, right. I guess that's my doppelganger. Although one time she put like the Marilyn Monroe filter on and sent it to me, and that's when she looked like me.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I don't like this. This is weird.
Sorry, I had to kill something in the corner real quick.
Nice. Its ghost is gonna come.
If I start getting bug ghosts, I'll literally cry. Like, that's it.
Yo, same. I'm not gonna lie. That would be the worst.
It really would. Because first off, Adventure Time put me onto this, of the idea of bug ghosts after Jake killed that fly. And then the fly started haunting him, and then like also fucking possessed Finn and made Finn into a fly human hybrid creature. And I was just, no, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Please.
Dude, I hope I can become a fly. I really do.
Trying
to not to make about politics, but I'm trying to be a fly on a Republican's head.
No.
Birdman hands and all.
No. Nah, I want to be the bird that landed on Bernie's podium.
Oh my god. I just
I
real life, you know.
Yeah.
Let's pretend it's not happening and talk about ghosts some more.
Yeah, let's talk about more ghosts. So, what other in fact, what's your favorite ghost film?
My favorite ghost film?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really have 13 Ghosts. But a lot of ghost films, that's why I asked you. I'm like, is it ghost or is it demons or is it angry spirits? That's a
good question.
That because it's like Poltergeist, I really enjoy. Right. Exorcist, really enjoy. Poltergeist, I feel like, is like the definitive. I don't know. Blair Witch isn't a ghost movie. Actually, I fucking hate Blair Witch. It scares me.
You definitely said you hated Blair Witch.
But I love it. You know what I mean? I love it for what it was. That's the thing. I don't... Can I skip and you answer that question and come back to me?
Of course. You already know that my favorite is legitimately my favorite is literally 13 Ghosts. Because that was good film. Like, oh my god. Like, I know I was scared shitless the first time I seen it, but it was still like, you know what? I could watch this again. I could watch this a couple times, really.
Yeah, I like 13 Ghosts. I feel like I'd have to say the same, but like also I know there's like we're gonna finish this and I'm gonna be like, no, wait! Like this is on record as my favorite ghost film. I don't know. Does the Grudge count?
I think the Grudge definitely counts because
she's a ghost.
Yeah, she is a ghost. She's like, oh god, isn't she?
I'm gonna say the Grudge.
All right, so the Grudge definitely counts. Yeah,
the Grudge. One of my best friends. That's the only movie that scares him.
Yeah,
and I think part of why it's so funny to make fun of stuff like that is because it's easy to imitate. Whereas it's like you can't imitate the Blair Witch and freak me out because it's like that's like a different. You can imitate the Grudge. You know what I mean? And I did it once or twice, and obviously, like, it's a douchey thing, so I'm not going to do it. But man, if I wanted to, is it so fucking easy to just imitate the Grudge?
Yeah.
But I do think the Grudge is up there. That's hard. I'm a person that doesn't really have definitive anything favorites.
Yeah.
I'm very much like hi, handsome. That's Vinny.
Aww,
he's coming over. Come here.
Also, since we're also talking about like what does and what doesn't count as a ghost movie, technically Black Swan counts as a ghost movie, and it's like really weird.
Oh yeah, it's weird.
You can't hear him purr, can you?
Oh.
Can you hear him or no?
No, I can't.
Okay,
I
good.
want to hear him.
For those listening, Vinny is now being pet. He is sitting in my arms.
Oh, you know what's a good ghost film actually? Casper.
That's my favorite ghost movie.
Exactly.
I love Casper. Oh, and the Scooby-Doo movie. You know what my favorite ghost movie is?
Which one?
Skull Island.
Hell yeah! Oh my god, Skull Island was
yeah. Is that a ghost movie? Does that count? Are they ghosts? They're like demons, aren't they?
So they're cat demons and
they possess people.
Let me see. Hold on. Scooby-Doo Skull Island. Because I know they're like...
No, there's a ghost in the intro. That's what it is.
Yeah. But then there's also that witch movie where it's a witch ghost with Scooby-Doo.
I don't care. I count it. That's my favorite ghost movie.
Scooby-Doo, everybody. We've done it.
Yep. I've reached peak horror, honestly. Come to me for all suggestions and advice.
Yes.
Scooby-Doo.
And also Ghostbusters, of course, is a fucking classic.
Oh yeah, Ghostbusters. Casper's so good. How did
really
I forget?
is.
How did I possibly forget?
It's because it just slips your mind, because sometimes you're thinking of like, what's the scariest ghost movie? And it's like, no, what's just a ghost movie that you like?
Yeah, no, Casper makes me. I love Casper. We
Yeah.
all love Casper. Stan Casper.
Stan
Okay.
Casper.
That would
Also,
be me as a ghost.
you know what else is like an actually kind of good ghost movie? And it's another one of those, this is just a manifestation of energy from a certain object. Oculus.
Oh yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah.
What else? I like. I don't know. I feel like my mind always goes blank on these types of questions, and I'm not sure why.
That's fair.
Pet Cemetery.
Oh yeah. God
Yeah.
damn, forgot about pets.
Does that count as a ghost? All right, Vinny.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they're like they're animal ghosts, well, animal zombies.
Look
but
at the
still.
disrespect.
He's so cute though. Look at him.
The absolute disrespect.
I'm sorry, I keep hearing my cats like moving around in the room though.
Oh, he just wants me to pet him. He sat back down. Okay.
Because he wants attention. That's why Ginger was here earlier.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but he's just so fucking big.
I know.
Anyways.
I'm going to fucking regret when my cats get like huge and they start asking me for attention. Because Ginger already asked me for attention all the time. The reason this took so long, she kept coming into the room and like crawling on me.
You have to stop.
You have to stop. Cause
you know what my favorite ghost trope is?
What?
That the animal like helps the other animal, like, you know, those like comic strips and stuff where it's like, oh, please take care of this person, like,
yes,
that's my favorite ghost trope. That one makes me feel good. Yeah, I like that one. I'd like to imagine, so I had a cat that passed away right before I got Tug when I was younger. Yeah. I'd like to imagine that he like stopped and visited Tug and was like, hey, just look out. And then I have Tug, and now I have Vinny. Vinny is a little more chaotic, but Vinny's my cuddle cat. But I'd like to imagine that they stopped and they looked at Tug and they were like, yo, just look out. And Tug was like, I got you. That's my favorite ghost thing.
I'd be hoping that's the same thing that my cat said to my new cats.
Yeah, I'd like to imagine that's how it goes. You know, on a little positive note. As much as we like talking about spooky things, there's also some good things. I mean, like the ancestor stuff I think is typically good.
Yeah.
You know, that's got to be my favorite, like, actual real life thing.
Right.
But, you know, I as far as like other things, the pet thing.
Yeah. In general, honestly, any ghost is like, just take care of my loved ones when they're that's a really good trope. And Casper actually exhibits that very well when it comes to so remember how the girl's mom was like, they never got to really see her in the movie except for until the end, but she would appear to Casper and everything, and she's like his guardian angel kind of, and then like she talks to her husband one last time at the end, like, you know, I'm kind of moving on, but you know, take care of our daughter, please.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I really like that trope a lot.
It's a really good trope. Also, okay, so this is a
ouch! I'm sorry.
You're good.
He put his claws out.
But this is a very good question that I'm stealing, from Cracked After Hours. If any of you know of Cracked After Hours, then you know the episode that I'm talking about right now. What would be the best afterlife, do you think? Or the best world to be a ghost in?
The best world to be a ghost in?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like all of them are just kind of like, you still don't know what actually happens in them. That's
very true. But like, what do you think for yourself? What would be?
Ew, your breath fucking stinks. I'm sorry. Anyways, this is why I don't ever have him with me when we record. Yeah. Because I'm very easily distracted by him.
No, but I feel you.
Anyways, I don't know. Ideally, there'd be cats, and no, in a perfect afterlife, it'd be like every pet that you had like that passed on before you. They're just like waiting for you. And like the chill family members. And that's it, really. That's really like I see. Here's my thing. I think I would just prefer to be reincarnated, and and a little self-aware that I'm reincarnated.
Same. I would love that. God damn.
Yeah, like because I feel like if you're reincarnated, like I feel like if you're in the afterlife and aware you're in the afterlife, you're doing the same thing forever.
Yeah.
You know, it makes me think of Future Diary.
Yeah.
Where like when he finally becomes God, and then like the last episode is like nothing except for him just talking and like making a world, like but like hella slow, and he's like, this much time has gone on. It's like, what the fuck were you doing for all that time? Like, did it feel like time was passing like normal? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That shit would suck.
It would.
I would like to maybe just like explore parallel universes. That's an ideal afterlife, but also with all my pets. See,
I think about it in terms of like what movie afterlife would I want to be in and everything. And After Hours really did make a good case for what's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh yeah.
And their afterlife and everything. Like, they made a very good case for why that's the best afterlife to be in, because even if you do go to hell, it's like really easy to kind of play death to get into heaven or to get back to life, to be honest. Or if you go to a station.
I think I'd like Wakanda's too, to be honest. Which sounds like a cop-out answer, but like I really feel like Wakanda's would be like the most chill. Because it's like, you get your ancestors.
My question is, though, do you get to the ancestral plane just by being Wakandan, or do you have to be like royalty?
I feel like everybody has their own. I don't know for sure, though. Somebody's going to have to check me on that. Yeah. But I feel like in my perfect world, everybody would have their own. All right, Vinny, you're doing a lot right now. I feel like everybody would have their own like ancestral like tree, because you know how he comes up and there's the tree and they're all like chilling there.
Yeah.
But that was like exclusive to him, you know. But I feel like Killmonger had his own thing too. Yeah. But because he wasn't tied to Wakanda, he didn't get to see it.
So he was basically in his apartment.
Yeah, so he didn't, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I feel like in a perfect world, everybody'd have their own little version, depending on how tied to their ancestors they are. And like, that would be my ideal, like, imagine you get to like chill in your afterlife with all your ancestors, and then like, you know, the next member comes and they visit you and you're like, yo, what it is. That'd be pretty cool. I feel like that'd be pretty nice for me.
That actually would be pretty chill.
Yeah. Or reincarnation.
I think the worst afterlife would probably be from Ghost, the 90s movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because like the only way I can speak to my loved ones is if I possess Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, that I mean, I guess my mom would be pretty cool with talking to Whoopi Goldberg.
That's fair. But like, what if you want, like, the whole point of the movie is like he's trying to communicate with his lover, and then he has to possess Whoopi Goldberg so then they can do, you know, weird fucking intimate shit. And it's like, wait, did Whoopi Goldberg agree to, you know, you guys fondling each other while making a vape?
That's a lot of questions, actually. You were totally right on that one. That's definitely, I wish you didn't point it out, because now I'm not going to be able to see it the same.
I'm so sorry. It's just I thought about it.
I wish that it wasn't brought on to me thinking about it. Because now I'm going to have to relay this information to somebody at some point in my life.
Good. Relay it. I think I would also hate the Coraline afterlife, but that's only if I get caught by the other mother.
Best afterlife would be Coco. Duh. Why didn't I think about that? Coco's afterlife was fucking lit, as long as people remember you.
Yeah, so that's both Coco and the Book of Life, and basically just if you go to Mexico, this is there.
That'd be fucking. Actually, you know, and Corpse Bride.
Yeah.
All that, that would be, you'd get to have a cool aesthetic, you'd get to sing songs, you'd get to drink technically.
You get to eat with your relatives that you never met before.
Yeah,
but
you get to
heard so many
chill with
stories
people.
of.
That'd be chill. Yep. That's what I'm sticking with. Definitive answer. Sorry, Wakanda, but bright, spooky skeletons, bars, musicals,
That would be a chill ass
ancestors still there.
Oh, actually, you know what my best afterlife would have to be? If any of you have watched The Good Place, it's literally The Good Place's afterlife. Like, I know in the first couple of seasons, like, no, I don't want to be in the bad place, good place. But when they got to, the ending and everything, if you haven't watched it, I'm so sorry for the spoilers right now. But it's like, they kind of fixed everything that was wrong with getting into the good place in the first place, and kind of reworked the entire system where, if you don't get into the good place, you are sent to the bad place, but you have a chance of rehabilitation to get into the good place. And then once you're kind of done being in the good place, you can kind of send your energy back into the universe.
See, that's pretty good too. I feel like a lot of mine are just like your ancestors, guiding your ancestors.
Yeah.
But also nothing. Like, that's the thing. I feel like so many portrayals of what I watch, it's just like nothing.
Yeah.
Like, the last recent thing I watched with an afterlife was BoJack Horseman. And that's because it took me so long to finish BoJack. Like, I watched it. Yeah. I watched most of BoJack and then stopped for a long time because it was so sad. Yeah. And then I went back and watched it, and I watched it all within like a week, and it was like more sad. Don't recommend that for anybody. You have to watch BoJack slowly because otherwise you're going to go through every emotion at once.
It's true.
And
you'll probably have a depressive episode like in the middle of watching it. Yeah,
The View from Halfway Down. That episode is like the episode, and that's like what I think of when people think of the afterlife, and it just fucks me up.
Cause like nothingness is kind of scary. I'm not gonna lie.
But also, nope.
I just feel like I don't know if I could stay in an afterlife that is just like, if you do go to heaven and you're there for eternity, what if you get bored of it and you just kind of want to...
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, reincarnation. Like, do I get a choice to be reincarnated?
And that is why I like The Good Place, because they're like, okay, like at the end, it was just like, yeah, we do have heaven and everything that is here, but the people who have been here for all these centuries have gotten really bored. There's nothing more to do. They have had all their whims met and everything, and they kind of just are done with it, and they finally figured out, hey, if you just want to go, here's the door. And
that's the right answer. That's a good one. So I guess if you want to answer that question, comment or message us or
tell us what your ideal afterlife is.
I want to know, please. I would like to do more shout outs, especially for spooky season.
Yes.
So let us know,
Let us know. Man, you know what would suck as an afterlife? If we became like Candyman.
Oh yeah, that would suck. That's again ghost thing.
Yeah.
You know, like I think being a ghost would be kind of whack in a lot of ways, but especially if I didn't get to pick being a ghost. If I'm forced to be a ghost, oh man, I love Candyman. I love Candyman so much. It's such a good movie. Right. Favorite ghost movie? Candyman. Does that count as a ghost?
That does count as a ghost movie because, like, Candyman himself was a ghost. He's a vengeful spirit looking for revenge after being, like, murdered for having a forbidden interracial love affair.
Candyman. That's my favorite ghost movie. Point blank, period. Great movie. Everybody should watch it.
I cannot wait until that next movie comes out.
I am so prepared.
Yahya
wouldn't even believe it.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen, love that man.
So fucking ready for it. So fucking ready for it.
I wish they would just release it digitally, but they're like, no, you have to experience it in theaters. And I'm just like, I'm
not gonna lie, I do want to experience it in theaters.
Yeah, I get it. I do. I honestly do. But like, you know, you can still re-release it into theaters afterwards. I will absolutely go and see it then.
But not everybody is you, Simmy.
I know not everybody is me, but I just want to see this because, like, some of my favorite, Tiana Paris is in this bitch. I'm just, God, just give me the movie. I'm tired of waiting. Just give it to me. God damn it. And Tony Todd came back to play Candyman again. Just give me the movie. Just give it to me.
It's gonna be so good.
And plus, I know that until the movie drops, Jordan Peele won't fucking release that Say My Name horror edit. And I'm just God damn. Well, I gotta wait.
That is a little annoying, actually.
I hate it here.
You're right. I recently got into a debate about Jordan Peele because the person that I was talking to was like, yeah, like I don't think Us like ended well. And I'm like, well, yeah, but like any ending for that movie wouldn't have been a satisfying ending.
Right.
Like there was no way to end, and Peele felt similarly about his first major film because that's why there were so many possible endings for it.
Right.
No ending would have been yeah, this is right. And the person's like, yeah, but like, I just think it would have been better if I was like, what other ending could there have been? And he's like, well, that's what makes it not a great movie. And I'm like, you're incorrect.
Very incorrect.
Like, I got because it was literally, the debate started right after I said, oh yeah, Peele replaced my favorite director. And like, he's with Us, he became my definitive favorite director.
Right. And
then the debate started. I was like, oh, did you not just fucking listen to the words that I said? Like, Us was good, and I listed why it was good.
Right.
And then he's like, yeah, but like the ending. And I'm like,
dude, the ending was chill for what it was.
The ending was as good as it could have been for what the movie premise was.
Exactly. The twist I was really not expecting, to be honest. And I'm still
the twist as it unfolded, I was like, yo. Because, like, I got it. I understood it early on. But also, I was like, nah, they're not going to do that. Because I was like, oh, she's just quiet because she's quiet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she got scared. Something happened. Like, I didn't think it was, you know? And then as they hinted towards it, I was like, no, there's no fucking way.
Right.
Like, no. That's what I wanted to be this Halloween. And then I forgot, to be honest. Which I knew was going to happen because I saw it and I was like, that's what I'm going to be next Halloween. And then like that Halloween passed. Yeah. And I didn't do it. So then I was like, okay, I'll do it next Halloween.
I'm just so amazed that she organized this whole revolution. God, underground and everything.
It was so good. You know, I used to not believe that Hands Across America was a thing. Like, I refused to believe it actually happened. And then I found out there was a Simpsons episode on it, and I was like, oh, it happened. Like,
wait, I don't remember the Simpsons episode on it.
That's because we weren't alive, so we wouldn't have seen it air, and they wouldn't have done a rerun for it because it was a Hands Across America episode.
That's fair.
But my mom told me. That's how I knew it was real.
I'm going to have to go on Disney Plus and find that episode now.
She said, yeah, apparently it exists, but I don't know if it was like a full, like, real episode or like a promo type thing, but it was a thing they referenced. Or maybe it could have been like a couch gag and my mom just told me it was an episode.
That's fair enough.
But when I looked it up, it definitely happened. I just can't find anything for it. And this is before Disney Plus that I looked it up, obviously.
That reminds me of how there was this episode of The Simpsons that, like, it's not on Disney Plus because of, all the allegations. But, see, Michael Jackson had voiced this one character on The Simpsons for this one episode. He didn't give his singing voice, but he just gave his talking voice, while somebody else, a Michael Jackson impersonator, did his singing voice. And it was a whole episode about how this mental patient believed that he was Michael Jackson. And it was like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it's like, you can't find the episode anywhere else except for like illegal online places, or if you have the DVD set that episode came with. But it just doesn't exist. on Disney Plus now. And I'm just like, that sucks.
Well, when you're a show that's been around that long, I feel like that's bound to have, like, even Pokemon has an episode that you can only find bootlegged. And if you find it bootlegged, or not bootlegged, but you can only find it illegally. And if you find it, it's only in Japanese.
Damn.
And it's still doctored. Like, it's not the original episode at all. Because the original episode literally gave kids seizures. And it's, like, not an urban myth. It's, like, an actual episode.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched it. It gives people's pet seizures, too. Like, I didn't have my cats in the room when I watched it. Because I read the comments, and they were like, yeah, you can't. Because it's in black and white, and there's a lot of flashing.
Yeah.
It's the Polygon episode.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's the only episode for, like, the original Pokemon that didn't come out in America, and they only aired it once because of the seizures that happened from it, because Polygon, like, flashes from the computer screen, and it's like bright colors, so it gave the kids seizures. And if you put it, and when you watch it online, I don't think the website's up anymore, because I watched this, I had to have been like a freshman in high school when I watched it. But when you watch it, it's in black and white, the flashing parts.
Yeah.
And it gives people's pet seizures because they still can see, obviously, the flashing parts. Their brains still. So I kicked my cats out the room for that because I was like, I don't want to risk it.
Right. That's so sweet, though.
Yeah, but I feel like once you're an episode that's been airing that long, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. Man. This was such a good conversation about ghosts. I know we, like, sidetracked a lot on it, but we got our point across on how we feel about fucking ghosts, man.
Yeah, but I feel like that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's what they're here for.
That's exactly what they're here for. To hear us talk about ghosts.
You know? But is that you say?
I think we've come to the natural close.
Yes.
We definitely came to the natural closing point when we were talking about, hey, what's our favorite, what would be our best afterlife? But I feel like we've officially gotten there.
Mm-hmm.
So, one more thing. Thank you for tuning in this week. We hope that you have enjoyed our episode. We hope that we have given you a new kind of perspective on certain ghosts and everything, on certain manifestations of spirits. We hope that this has given you, like, reasons to go look up more about, specters and haunts and everything. And maybe
other cultures' interpretations of things.
And maybe you'll go and watch an episode of BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural to see them go on one of their ghost hunts, or maybe you'll find another ghost hunting show. I can't think of the other ones right now. They're not crossing my mind.
They exist, but they're not as good as that one, so it doesn't matter. Exactly. As of right now. They're not as funny.
Shane Madej.
Watch when they went to the Sally house.
Shane Madej, Ryan Bagara, if you're somehow inexplicably listening to this,
tweet this to them. Please tweet this to them if you're listening. Tweet it to them.
Tweet this to them right now.
All 5 of you. Tweet it.
Especially tweet it at Shane. I feel like
especially Shane.
I feel like he'd be the most inclined to listen and to answer.
Shane, we love you, but you're very wrong.
Yes. Ryan, you are the most right in the world.
Also, if you ever want to come on this show, I won't argue with you. I'll just be excited to be here. So
I'll actually scream if you come on this show.
If you agree and people tweet this at you, including myself, then
let us interview you. Shane and Ryan, let us interview you. We have questions ready.
We won't dress as ghosts for the episode.
I don't know, I might.
We may dress as ghosts for the episode.
I can't make any promises to not dressing as a ghost. I'm very sorry. But yes, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to find us on all of our social medias, which we will have linked below in either the YouTube description, the Spotify description, the Anchor FM. I believe we have a link tree at this point, probably. Maybe. No, we don't. Okay. Well, don't look for a link tree just yet. But in the future,
it's because we have too many. We have too many links.
That's the issue.
Because we have our links. Everything in the description is our links and the podcast links. Podcasts go first, and then the host links go afterwards.
Exactly.
if you're confused.
And don't forget to send us what your preferred afterlife would be, or even what your favorite ghost film is.
Anything you want.
Anything you want. And have a lovely day, evening, whatever time you're listening to this at. See you guys.
GG.